from Canada, it's the Molson Champ Car Grand Prix of Montreal as Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series, powered by Ford.
Perhaps the most beautiful city in North America, and some of the most intense motorsports fans anywhere on the planet. Welcome to Montreal, Quebec, Canada. This is the Ile de Notre Dame and NBC Sports coverage of the Molson Champ Car Grand Prix of Montreal at the world-famous Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. As we take a look at this beautiful venue, let's have a look at the season championship standings with 5 races to go. Defending title holder Sébastien Bourdais with a significant lead, 55 points now after qualifying this weekend over Paul Tracy, who was the 2003 series champion. Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Montreal. I'm Rick Benjamin, Derek Daly alongside on NBC Sports. Round 10 of the 2005 championship is about to unfold. A very historic venue, Derek. Champ Car's only been here. This is the 4th time, but they've been racing here a long time.
Since 1978. And this racetrack, which is a wonderful facility, was built really to support the great Canadian driver Gilles Villeneuve, Formula One driver. And Champ Car have definitely continued this great legacy of great events here in Montreal.
Now let's take a look at Derek's Champ Car toolbox as we get set to get underway here in just a few moments today. Several things we want to talk about. This really puts the diversity of Champ Car on display this weekend.
It really does. And the top story out of our toolbox has to be the League of Nations street fight is in full force, led by Frenchman Sébastien Bourdais, who's very popular here in French-Canadian country. But Sébastien Bourdais, the question might be, how good is he? Well, if you think he's won 14 of 41 races, I believe he is one of the very best drivers that has ever stepped into a Champ Car. So he's going to be tough to beat for this championship.
He's got a big advantage. He's won 3 in a row. But now the Canadians, we may see a couple of Canadian challengers here today.
Great Canadian challenge. Of course, we got Ranger, we got Tagliani, but really the championship challenge has to fall at the feet of Paul Tracy. Now, he's experienced, he's brash, he's brave, but he's mistake-prone. And 2 weeks ago in Denver, he crashed while leading. And in his own words, he said, "I've handed the championship to Bourdais." If he is to win the championship, he has to win here today. No mistake about it.
Now, there is a young American contender we'll all be watching as well.
A.J. Allmendinger. He is 23 years old. He has been a one-man crash fest highlight reel all year long, just about. But in Denver 2 weeks ago, he showed that he has the ability to run between the concrete walls, have the discipline, and he's been on the podium 3 times, twice second. I don't know whether he'll win here today, but he will definitely win in the future. A.J. Allmendinger leads the American Challenge.
Well, this is a permanent road course, 2.7 miles around on this island in Quebec. Derek, show us this place.
It is a great track here. First corner, very unchanged since back in 1978. This is all original as you go through here. High-speed chicane here. A lot of incidents in practice. Long right-hander, hard on the brakes. Then there's what you call the back straight. Under a bridge, very slippery. Cars run off the racetrack here. And then the blast down to the first gear chicane, slowest corner on the racetrack. And then it is high speed all the way down here. Almost 190 miles an hour before the very fast final right-left chicane.
One of the fastest racetracks in all of Champ Car competition. The fastest driver all weekend is the driver atop the point standings. Sébastien Bourdais will lead them to green. He's with Jan Beekes.
Well, Rick, Sébastien Bourdais certainly has been the master of qualifying, almost in a league in his own in the qualifying format, but now we turn to the race. This is a race you've yet to finish, so what's the strategy?
Well, cross fingers and hope nothing goes wrong this time. We had a very dominant car last year. We led quite a few laps, and then an incident came and ruined our day, so hopefully everything's going to be all right for this one, and the Magnus car is going to be up front. I'm sure we have the speed. It's all about trying to put it together.
Have a great race.
Thanks.
There were big moments of frustration through midsummer for A.J. Allmendinger, but a turnaround at Denver. Now you're back in Montreal. You like the place. What's the prospect?
You know, Newman Haas has been strong so far, but we picked up a lot through the practice sessions and the qualifying. So second row on the grid's not the worst. And, you know, I had some Red Bull this morning, got myself in 10th. We're ready to go. Just got to keep Paul off me in turn 1 unlike last year.
Okay, have a great ride.
Thank you.
Rick?
Well, you heard Derek say that Sébastien Bourdais may well be one of the finest drivers ever to sit in a Champ Car. A.J. Allmendinger hopes to join him in those ranks, but fans always want to know who was really the best driver. 40 years ago this summer, the man many consider to be the all-time greatest won his first Champ Car event. Let's have a look at the career of Mario Andretti.
Be not afraid of greatness. Some are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them. William Shakespeare.
This man alone in the history of this sport is the only one ever to have won the Daytona 500, the Indianapolis 500, and the World Grand Prix Driving Championship. An extraordinary achievement, and it'll put him in the history books forever.
Andretti began racing in Nazareth, Pennsylvania at the age of 19. He grew into the greatest Champ Car driver of all time, arguably the greatest driver in the world.
Well, you know, Mario's record stands alone by itself. It wasn't just that he was a fierce competitor. There was a real joy and delight. When he got in that car, I mean, you just felt that he just snuggled up to it like a really good-looking lady, and he enjoyed everything about it.
Anytime that Mario's near the front row, he hates to miss not leading the first lap or leading into the first turn, and today's no exception.
I was a fan of Mario's before he raced with us. I had followed him, and world champion, Indy winner, dirt track racer, NASCAR racer, winning in all those areas. He was the best in the world.
Mario Andretti only led one lap, and that was the last lap, and he won by a matter of inches over his son Michael, who led most of this race.
I don't think there's a sum of money that can really totally satisfy somebody in a proper sense of doing this type of work. The racers obviously love to bask in this glory of bringing home these trophies, you know, and it's the races, and then it's a championship.
Going through his house and seeing this display case of trophies is staggering. It's all there for everybody to take a look at. History will write his record.
As big as the historic footprint Mario has left in racing, his impact, his importance to race fans worldwide is unparalleled.
He also has the great affection of all the people who worked with him on the track and off.
The affection that I've seen is very touching, very heartwarming, and I said all along, the fans, I don't know if they realize how much strength they provide for the competitors. Sometimes even to feel like you're justified taking that extra chance and everything else, you feel, I hope it's appreciated. To really feel their support is priceless.
Oriol Servia is a gambler. When he left Dale Coyne for Newman Haas Racing before round 3, the stakes were high. With his poker face ready, Oriol played his hand masterfully. And with every roll of the dice, he plays hoping to win big. Today at the Champ Car Grand Prix of Montreal, this gambler is ready to play.
Welcome back to Circuit Gilles of Ile de Notre Dame in Quebec. Montreal, Canada is the location for NBC Sports coverage of the Champ Car World Series. Well, let's give you a driver's eye view now of Circuit Gilles of 2.7 miles. We asked Canadian star Alex Tagliani to put us on the edge.
Start the lap, 7th gear, 3rd gear, chicane, really hard over the curve, 6th gear, turn 1, hard braking, downshift into 3rd, turn 2, 2nd gear, up the curb, a little bit of wheel spin at the exit, up to 5th, first chicane of the track, 3rd gear, hard on the curb, downhill, goes to the wall, been first gear really slippery. Back up to seventh gear. That's going to be the last one to go.
Time now to check your starting lineup for Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series powered by Ford. Sebastian Bourdais' fourth Bridgestone Pole Award of the season. He'll be up front in the McDonald's #1. Alongside his teammate for now, Oriol Servia, in the Pacific Care 2 car. Equals his best starting spot ever here in Montreal.
And row 2 headed by Britain's Justin Wilson in the CWD car. And then AJ Allmendinger in the Western Union car.
The two Canadian challengers make up row 3. Two of the three. Former champion in the INDEC #3, Paul Tracy. Alex Tagliani in the Aussie Vineyards 15 starts 6th.
Moving back to row 4, headed by Mario Dominguez from Mexico in the INDEC car, and Cristiano Damata, former champion in the Bell Micro car.
In the 5th row, the Gulfstream Lola for 96 Series champ Jimmy Vasser. Nelson Philippe is alongside.
Timo Glock heads row 6, the DHL Global Mail Rocket Sports car. Levin in the HVM beside him.
7th row, Ryan Hunter-Reay, the Red Paw Systems 31. Andrew Ranger, local hero. The Bijack Conquest tied #27.
Row 8, headed by Bjorn Wertheim in the HVM car, the second car beside Ricardo Sperafico in Dale Coyne's Sonny's barbecue car.
The other coin car, the American Medical Response 19, in the hands of Ronnie Bremer, a rising Danish star. Marcus Marshall, shotgun on the field, the Aussie Vineyards #5 for Derek Walker and Team Australia. On board looks, Derek will get a Paul Tracy eye view, eyewitness account, you might say, and we'll also have a look back at Tracy's hands and face. We'll ride with Justin Wilson in the CDW9, won his first career event earlier at Toronto in the CDW car for the Roosport team. Alex Tagliani, so good here 2 years ago in the Team Australia Aussie Vineyards #15. Tag starts in row #3 alongside Paul Tracy. Getting set to come to the green flag, 79 laps, 215 miles, or 2 hours of racing. Bourdais in the 1, Servia in the Pacific Care #2, Wilson and Allmendinger in row #2, coming to the stripe to put the 10th race of 2005 underway. Green is in the air. Bruno Junqueira, who normally drives that 2 car, the honorary starter. Bourdais takes him to turn 1. Servia slots alongside into 2nd, riding with Tracy all the way back in 5th.
So far, so good for Tracy. Remember last year, he punted into the side of AJ Allmendinger, who is now right ahead of him in that yellow and white car. Tracy in the blue car has fallen back to 6th place.
Field going single file down the backside of the racetrack here. Quick left, right, coming to the very fast portion that leads you to the casino corner, turn 10. Derek, we've seen a lot of other drivers this weekend come to grief in this part of the racetrack. They repaved earlier this year. It's pretty slick back here.
One of the problems now they have to deal with is nobody has run the racing cars on full race fuel in race trim, because this morning's warm-up was all done in the rain. It was just bucketed down rain here last night, early this morning. So these are the first full tank race ready laps that these cars have done. Ooh, look at there's that Glock down the inside.
That is Glock going for 11th spot. Timo Glock getting by Jimmy Vasser in the casino corner.
And that is the hairpin. That is where you are dared to run down the inside, and Vasser is right under the rear wing again, trying to get inside him with this fast chicane.
Timo Glock, a driver driving that DHL Global Mail #8 for the Rocket Sports team out of Germany. Very strong. He's improved week by week. Derek, he was very quick last week, 2 weeks ago, we should say, at Denver. Had late problems in that. Bourdais by 4 car lengths over his teammate Servia.
And Bourdais in every session here just has been spectacular. Just has found the speed almost with ease. So for people like AJ Allmendinger here in the Western Union car, he needs to make sure he doesn't let Bourdais begin to slide away and get any advantage before these pit stops start.
Now, this is not a very wide racetrack, and as you can see, there's not a lot of place to go if you get caught out. If you run out of racetrack, the walls are pretty close here.
They are, and here's the brake zone under the bridge. It's greasy under this bridge. It's very bumpy. Cars have begun to lock up the rear brakes. But at this nice early stage, everybody has behaved themselves so far. There's an example of the type of wet conditions we had earlier on. We have a mist on the camera lens right there.
Sun is shining now, but we could see more rain. Jan-Bikas Oriol Serbia plenty quick in that second spot right now.
He is plenty quick, and already a radio communication to him, giving him his fuel target number. They didn't even let one lap get in the books, and they told him, Oriol, we want you 1.71. So already he's got to maintain his speed, but also meet his target mileage number.
Now the story of Serbia, he took over from the injured Bruno Junqueira after the month of May. He's powered his way into the top 5 in the season championship. He's been, top 5 in 6 of his 7 starts for the Newman Haas team, but has yet to win a race.
He has done a good job. He has been close, many podiums. Bruno Junqueira, who of course broke his back in the month of May at the Indy 500, is repairing, very rare, rehabilitating, believes he will be back for the final race in Mexico. So Serbia, who took a gamble to walk away from his Dale Coyne car to jump in here, he really needs to get a win. He's with the best team in the business. He needs to get a win to solidify his position as one of these top drivers in Champ Car.
Well, as he chases Bourdais, the 2 Newman Haas mates running 1 and 2. Here's Justin Wilson, 3rd in the Roost Sport number 9, the CDW car. Wilson turned in a great run at Toronto back in the month of June, scored his first career victory after the heartbreak he had at Portland when he was leading at halfway and the motor gave up in this race car. But Derek, 2 weeks ago at Denver, he was taken out in a first lap, first turn wreck, a very violent crash.
He was on board here. The big crosses over his arms. We saw that in San Jose earlier. This is the drag race. 7 speeds, almost 190 miles an hour. Chasing Serbia, that's Serbia right ahead of him. Oh, the rev limiter. Rev limiter in 7th gear, that's a problem. Can't drive over the top of these chicanes anymore this last curb. For the Formula 1 race, they made the curbs much higher. They're about 6 inches high. Talking about mileage again. That is Todd Malloy, his engineer. Now, they give you a mileage figure because they want you to potentially short shift or drive it so as you get a certain number of laps before you make your first pit stop. The strategy that plays out here in addition to the outright speed. But Wilson is right behind Serbia, who is right behind Bourdais. These Newman Haas boys are not running away here.
Top 3 less than 2 seconds apart last time by. Now, top of your screen, you see Cosworth power to pass numbers. Because this is such a long track with long straightaways, normally each driver has 60 seconds of an extra 50 horsepower from these Ford Cosworth engines. There's a button on the steering wheel or the dash they can hit. It gives them a 10-second burst of that extra power. Here, Champ Car officials have given the drivers an extra 15 seconds. We have 75 seconds of power to pass time today. And on the start, Derek, Sebastian Bourdais used one shot defensively to make sure he got the lead. Now let's cycle back, show you the Western Union 10 car. Young A.J. Allmendinger. He's had a couple of podiums this year. He rides fourth. He went through a rough patch in the middle of the summer season, Derek, where he was in the wall almost every week.
And we call him the one-man highlight reel crash fest. I mean, we say that lovingly because we know how talented he is. He tries so hard. He has won in every category he's been in. He's a product of go-kart racing. He is the future star of American racing right there. A.J. Allmendinger has that much talent. All he's got to do is just hone his craft, put it together. But Denver 2 weeks ago showed that all the crashes didn't affect him because he showed great confidence. And now he's ahead of Paul Tracy, who is one of the hardest men in this championship to stay ahead of. But A.J. Allmendinger, just remember his name, A.J. We had A.J. in the years past. You'll hear a lot more of him in the years to come.
He was the Roush Franz Rookie of the Year in Champ Car 1 year ago. Currently very well placed in the championship standings. Allmendinger currently 6th in points. Behind him, the driver, they call him the Thrill from West Hill. We're riding with the great Paul Tracy. Won the title 2 years ago. Derek, this is a place he's just never really come to grips with.
He's never led a lap here in Montreal. Can you believe that from Paul Tracy? He is very aggressive. He had actually hoped it might rain here. He ran the session this morning in the rain. The car was terrible. He had wheel spin all the way up through the gears, up to 4th gear. Couldn't control the thing, so he's glad now it is dry. But there we go, on board, inside Paul Tracy's visor as he tries to run down A.J. Allmendinger. Tracy, above anything else, knows he cannot make a mistake here, or else he will finalize the championship handoff to Sebastian Bourdais.
Well, Tracy certainly does need a great result here today. He needs to outscore Sebastian Bourdais by a significant number of points. At the moment, Tracy in 5th spot, working lap 6. We'll be back in Montreal. NBC this fall, the story of A Man Named Earl. It's a new comedy about karma and a man on a mission hoping to turn his life around. My name is Earl, stars Jason Lee. It's coming to NBC Tuesdays this fall. Welcome back. Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series, powered by Ford on NBC Sports. The Molson Champ Car Grand Prix of Montreal. I'm Rick Benjamin, Derek Daly alongside. Justin Wilson, you talked about the League of Nations, Derek. He represents Great Britain. Wilson third. He's closed right in on the Spaniard Oriol Servia as they battle for second spot.
And there's a Mexican, D'Amata, in the top 10. There's a German, and Timo Glock. Brazilian, D'Amata, Mexican, Dominguez. But look at this. Wilson is right all over the backside now, having a good look at what he might do at an opportune time to Servia. Allmendinger 2 laps earlier set the fastest lap of the race. Bourdais has just answered that by going 1/100th of a second faster than Allmendinger. So Allmendinger, as we predicted at the top of the show, may well be one of the real fast leaders here this afternoon.
Bourdais is about 1.1 seconds ahead. We are working lap number 8 here in Montreal. Jan Bikas, one of the strategy issues for these teams, fuel consumption and how long this race may actually turn out to be with a 2-hour time limit. What are you hearing?
It could be reduced, certainly. And what you're hearing on the radios, we talked about Bourdais, Servia, their fuel numbers. And Derek, you talked about the fact they're not running away. The reason they're not running away is they're trying to save a bit of fuel to get an extra lap. When you hear numbers like 1.71, 1.75, that means if you get a little bit less than that, you would have to go 20 laps or 21. If you could save a bit more, you might stretch it to lap 21 to 22. So obviously, with almost a 3-mile racetrack, it makes a big difference if you can save a bit of fuel.
And the key to saving fuel is if he goes 1 lap longer, he goes 1 lap with a really light fuel load.
Sure.
You know, 1 gallon in there, you can go almost a second a lap faster.
Hey, Chris McClure, you're end of pit road. What are you hearing about fuel numbers and so forth?
Well, in Cristiano D'Amata's case, they're telling him he's got to save some fuel. His numbers are not very good in the early going here. They're afraid they're not going to get to the first window, and if that's short, they're going to be off sequence the whole rest of the race. So he's going to have to smooth it out, maybe do some short shifting and all the techniques that help save fuel. And where he is in the field, having to save fuel at this point and not look forward and try to catch people has got to be terribly frustrating, but it's necessary.
Watching the well box, 34, one of the MyJack Conquest cars, young Nelson Philippe riding in 10th right now, about 10 seconds behind the leaders. For Cristiano D'Amata, that's certainly not good news as we watch Philippe try to work his way up through the field here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. D'Amata started 8th. He's still 8th, Derek. He's not gaining any ground on the leaders, so if fuel use is an issue for the 21 car, the Bell Micro machine, that's probably not a good portent of what's to come for the PKV cars. Of course, his teammate Jimmy Vassar, 2 former champions of this series. D'Amata won here a couple of years ago, as a matter of fact. Heading down the front straightaway, that right-hand kink, they take it at full throttle, heading to turn 1. Alex Tagliani in car number 15. That's the Aussie Vineyards machine, Derek Walker's Team Australia group. Tag qualified on the 3rd row. He continues to run 6th behind Paul Tracy. Tag nearly had this race won 2 years ago, led 52 laps, but a fuel miscalculation caught them out.
And this really has been a good season for this Aussie Vineyards team. Tag moved over late. He would love to get on the podium here in front of his hometown crowd, but Alex Tagliani, I'm so surprised the number of people walking around here with Walker Racing green and yellow Aussie Vineyards shirts in support of their hero here, Alex Tagliani. I was actually in Ireland last week. I picked up Autosport, the English magazine. There's a big ad in the back of that magazine for personnel to join this team. So there's obviously big plans with this team. There's engineers. They're looking for all sorts of technicians. So there are big plans for this team to get bigger, better, and stronger. And I think it's a great foundation this year with Tag moving over there, the type of results that they've been able to have.
Working lap number 10 of 79, a 2-hour time limit also in place for this Champ Car Grand Prix of Montreal today. Sebastian Bourdais from the pole has led all the way. Oriol Servia, quick lap of the day. He is second, less than a second behind his teammate. Servia ran a 1:23.9 a couple of laps ago. Our average pace about 1:24.78 seconds. So it's a very quick pace so far. Of course, Derek, as the cars get lighter, as the tires heat up, the speeds increase.
Yeah, fastest lap will change on a regular basis here because it was traded between Allmendinger, then it went to Bourdais, now back to Servia. You'll see those top 4 or 5 guys beginning to trade it. Interestingly enough, we haven't seen Tracy yet in that fastest lap category.
He's close, but how about this? A.J. Allmendinger, first driver to run a race lap at less than a minute 24, a 1:23.9 just a moment ago on lap number 10. So Allmendinger hoping to insert himself into this very close race between the top three.
Oh, this is good here with Wilson now all over the back of of Servia. If he can somehow sneak ahead of Servia in the brake zone down here at the hairpin, he will then give Servia a headache because the fuel consumption that they're trying to control. Oh, wow, he's on the rev limiter again. So he doesn't have these good runs at the end of the straights in the gears he's using.
Justin Wilson in the CDW9 car.
Let's listen in.
Long, very fast straightaway heading toward the entrance to pit road.
Going to keep an eye on Wilson. We're going to listen in over his shoulder to see, particularly at the end of these straights.
Great job, Justin. 11 laps, minus 0.4, plus 1.1.
He's got 1.1 seconds over his teammate Allmendinger, who's fourth. You heard the engineers on the radio.
That was Todd Malloy, who was Paul Tracy's engineer last year, moved over to this Rue Sports team. Oh, look how close they get, right over the curb, and then on top of the painted concrete, right by the concrete wall. This is the fight right here. Wilson versus Servia.
Second position in play. Bourdais in the McDonald's 1 is the leader. He's led all the way. Servia, the Pacific Air 2, runs in second. Wilson in the CDW9 is third. Allmendinger fourth in the Western Union car. Tracy rides fifth. Back with more of the Molson Champ Car Grand Prix of Montreal after this message and a word from your local NBC station.
You're watching Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series, powered by Ford.
Beautiful skyline, the city of Montreal, Quebec, Canada, home for the fourth time to the Champ Car World Series. Today on NBC Sports, I'm Rick Benjamin. Derek Daly is alongside. Jan Beekes and Chris McClure are on pit road for us today. Beginning lap number 14, Sebastien Bourdais, Oriol Servia at the head of the field until seconds ago. Justin Wilson in that CDW9 took the measure of Servia as they blasted down the front straightaway and headed to turn one. Let's jump on board here. They had an oil fire in this car yesterday, Derek. They didn't even get to paint the engine cover when they changed everything on that race car.
Right below the pop-off valve, which is a valve at the bottom of the picture. Here it is. This is the end of the straight. This is 190 miles an hour almost. He threatened to do this earlier. This is where he was on the rev limiter. Comes down the inside, and Servia has to give it up over the top of the curbs. Now Servia can no longer have the luxury of simply controlling that second place for his fuel mileage. Wilson now sets out after Sebastien Bourdais.
Now we're only about 6 laps from the likely first cycle of pit stops. This should be a 3 pit stop race, pretty rare in Champ Car these days. No mandatory windows. It's up to each team to decide, but we'd heard earlier in the day and earlier in the weekend, most teams figured it was a pretty narrow window. There was not a wide gap in when you could choose to come in, make it all the way home. So Wilson gains a spot in the CDW number 9. He is putting a lot of pressure on Sebastien Bourdais in the McDonald's car, who has led all the way as we work lap 15. Deeper in the field, we showed you Nelson Philippe. Here he is, Derek. That's not the yellow car.
Have a look
Here he
top
comes.
of your screen. There he goes. Smacks the outside wall. Have a look again, this other angle. Top of your screen right here. Boom. That was more than a rub. That was actually a little bit of a harder hit than you wanted. And I don't know where the team might be somewhat concerned when they see that piece of video. Chris?
Well, so far they're not concerned. I talked to Eric Bachelard very quickly just to ask him if he'd gotten any communication about damage. He knew it had happened. Nelson had said nothing about damage, and they're continuing. They feel they're fine.
Well, Philippe has given up a spot. Timo Glock had gotten by him. Philippe being shown 10th in front of Jimmy Vasser. Vasser, the former series champion, in that number 20 or that number 12 car, the Gulfstream Lola. He's picked up some spots and run some very quick laps. Here comes Vasser, the 96 series champion. That's his teammate D'Amata. As we see one of the Rocket Sports cars come by, and there is the 34 car of Philippe, who brushed the wall just moments ago. Jimmy Vasser right behind Nelson Philippe. He'll be in your picture momentarily in the 12. And Jan Beekes, Jimmy Vasser laying down some very good laps here.
In fact, the fastest lap of the race just moments ago, and it's a case where they called him and said, Jimmy, forget about the mileage, give us 1.56. That's a huge difference from 1.723 we've heard for other drivers. What that means, they realized they couldn't buy an extra lap, go ahead and burn the fuel if they have to stop one lap earlier. For Justin Wilson, when he made that pass, caught caught Serbia by surprise, used the Cosworth power to pass. That's how he got by so easily.
Now Wilson's already burned 25 seconds of his Cosworth power to pass time. There's Jimmy Vasser in the Gulfstream 12 car, working lap 17. Now we had heard, as we told you, teams expecting to go 20 laps, but here's Timo Glock on lap 17 for a stop. 4 tires, 4 new Bridgestone Potenzas, fuel going in as well. The Rocket Sports team not making any adjustments on the 8 car for Glock. Glock had moved up into the top 10.
They're in trouble. Something happened. Somebody said, jack it up again as they spray the water to dilute the methanol. That's why you see the water spray. Any methanol that gets spilled, they dilute it with the water so it doesn't catch fire. Fastest lap's now being traded. After Vasser did it, Tagliani then got fastest lap, and now Justin Wilson did a high 122.7.
Look at this.
He is the fastest man on the racetrack, now running down Bourdais.
He has closed to within 3 car lengths of the series champion and current points leader. Wilson bagged that win at Toronto earlier this year after Bourdais and Tracy got together and Bourdais damaged his race car. Right now, Derek, I'm not so sure that Wilson isn't faster than Bourdais.
Didn't hear the rev limiter that time. He's already got past one of them. Wilson will be on a...
Great job.
Okay, there's his support system again. Todd Malloy talks him through this.
Intel telemetry, top of your screen, showing you speeds, braking, throttle, and more.
And that was the perfect example of how to use the Cosworth power to pass. You're given that extra power, that extra boost, which uses fuel to do exactly what Wilson did, make that critical pass.
Jan Beekes, Wilson putting all kinds of pressure on Bourdais.
He is, and I heard Derek talk about the fact you could not hear the rev limiter that time. Remember, Derek, as the tire pressures come up, the diameter increases, so you actually get a little different gear ratio once your tire pressures get up to optimum. Not uncommon to get a bit of rev limiter when the tires are cold.
Derek, what's the best passing point? Is it where Serbia was passed by Wilson there just before the chicane?
Right here, there's the first one, but you've got to be right under the guy's rear wing because the brakes are so good, you can't take a banzai kamikaze run. Here's the second really good place where he got Serbia. He's not close enough here. Not close enough. Let's listen. Oh, he's catching him. Oh, he's catching him. Oh, he's going to have a go. Oh, man, he's close. Bourdais now knows it. Bourdais knows that Wilson is like a freight train coming down behind him.
Now, strategically, would you want to pass with a pit stop coming here, or would you want to wait? Wilson's used up 40 seconds of his Cosworth power to pass time. Bourdais used a bit of it right there to defend that position.
Ooh, so strategy really beginning to play out here. The faster you can get to the front, the more control you have of the situation, unless you use too much fuel to do it. Now, the telltale will be what lap Bourdais peels off to the pits and what lap Wilson peels off to the pits. I would almost say I doubt that they'll both go off the same lap. I'm almost going to bet Hunter Ray is in. Almost going to bet that Wilson will be in ahead of Bourdais.
New backup box backing on the other Rocket Sports machine, the 31, the American Ryan Hunter-Reay, 2 career wins. Last year led wire to wire on the Milwaukee Mile for the HVM team. Other cars on pit road. Dale Coyne's cars have been on pit road. The Sonny's barbecue machine of Ricardo Spirifico. Here comes the Marcus Marshall car, the Aussie Vineyards number 5. Marshall getting back up to speed. Ronnie Bremer had come to pit road in the AMR number 19 for Dale Coyne's team. So early pit stops before we get to lap number 20 today. Meantime, Bourdais on that Cosworth power to pass button again, pulling away a bit this time from Justin Wilson. The 2 leaders stay on the racetrack, as does Serbia. Here comes Tagliani now. Here comes also Cristiano D'Amata to pit road, the winner at Portland earlier this year in the Bell Micro number 21. Nelson Philippe, Jimmy Vasser stopping. There's Tag. Putting new Bridgestones on the 15 car. Fuel going in as well. Tagliani getting some help. And the Aussie Vineyards machine away. Mario Dominguez is in deck number 7. Dominguez has really put on a charge here of late. Second at Denver 2 weeks ago. Drag racing Tag off of pit road. And Dominguez gets by him. So Dominguez gains a couple of spots here.
Boy, you can see how intense. You got to keep your wheels under that white line. That is the rule, but you can see how intense the pit road activity as Tag and Dominguez within inches of each other trying to exit the pits.
Bourdais and Wilson, Survey on Allmendinger have yet to pit. Tracy hasn't come in yet, neither is Levine.
Have again, look again, watch Tag. Here's Dominguez, comes out, doesn't know Tag is there. Didn't look that close there.
One more look on board Tagliani.
Oh yeah, looks much closer when you get on board. Now there's a pit lane speed limiter, so Tag could not accelerate past him. Remember, there is no tire warmer blankets here in Champ Car, unlike Formula One. Oh, look at this, the two leaders, same time, same lap.
Bourdais in the one car, Wilson in the CDW9. Chris McClure running second. Justin Wilson headed your way.
He's on the march, the car is up, and the pit stop is underway. Allmendinger is also here. Tires are on, is it down? Yes, let's go to Jan.
And of course, Sebastian Bourdais is finishing his service. We look behind, no one is left yet. Again, he keeps the lead, but I think there's going to be a change. Here comes Justin Wilson. Oriol Serbia picks up Paul Tracy, not hit by Allmendinger.
A.J. Allmendinger and PT in a drag race off of pit road. They have to stay inside this blend line, Derek. They're very clear about that.
Yes, Tony Cotman's rules, stay inside the blend line. If we do it for one, we do it for everybody. But can you imagine the top 5 guys all came down the pit lane at the same time? They all stopped, they all went to work, they filled it, they changed fuel, and they all come back in exactly the same position. That is how critical the teamwork is when you come in for a pit stop.
Riding with Paul Tracy.
Hey, Rick, you know how good Tracy is on cold tires?
Yes.
Can he make a challenge here on Allmendinger?
He's got to start reeling in these leaders here. We're about a third of the way home within a few laps. Working lap 21 of 79. And remember, time is an issue here as well. We've got about an hour 31 of racing to go. A 2-hour time limit, 215 miles. The scheduled distance today here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve on the Ile de Notre Dame in Quebec, Canada, just outside the city of Montreal on NBC Sports. There's the turn 10 hairpin, the casino corner. As you see the leaders funneling through there very slow. That's a first gear corner, Derek, one of very few we see.
Yeah, slowest corner on the racetrack. You go through there about 45 miles an hour. Now, I was surprised that Wilson could run that hard to run down Bourdais, to use that amount of Cosworth power to pass, and they still went in to the pits on the same lap. Now that means I think Wilson's going to make a similar charge if the tires are as good on this run.
But Bourdais still has 63 seconds of that extra horsepower left in his bank. Wilson only has 36 seconds. And the question I have is strategy-wise, why would you try so early before your first pit stop to get the lead like that?
Trying to get the lead to control it. However, Bourdais still has the lead, therefore still has control. Jan?
Not only does he have control, they gave him more fuel. Just called him and said, okay, this segment, 1.66 miles per gallon. And Derek, if you're talking 1.72 in the first stint down to 1.66, doesn't sound like a big difference, but that's a lot more speed.
1.66 miles to the gallon. You pour more fuel into these engines, you give it more power. That's the key.
About 1.72 now, we're looking at our options.
Engineers communicate via headset radios to the drivers, giving them those calculations. This is Bourdais, the McDonald's #1, the current points leader. Bourdais, by the way, working on a string of 3 consecutive Champ Car victories, going for 4 here today. It's only been done a handful of times in the last many seasons. And it would be quite a mark if Bourdais could turn the trick today. He'd be just the 8th driver in Champ Car's 26-year history to win 4 in a row. So Bourdais leads, beginning lap number 23. Wilson is second, 2.1 seconds back. We'll be right back. More of the Molson Grand Prix of Montreal. Welcome back to Champ Car in Montreal. Coming up next on NBC Sports, the grueling 36-hole match play final of the 105th U.S. Amateur Golf Championships. Once top amateurs have been pared down to just 2. Who will walk in the footsteps of past champions like Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, and the great Tiger Woods? We'll find out. The U.S. Amateur Golf Championship up next here on NBC Sports. I'm Rick Benjamin, Derek Daly alongside as Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series powered by Ford here on NBC. Second time in 2005, and we're Glad to be with you on this Sunday afternoon. Working lap 25 of 79. Riding with the thrill from West Hill here in Canada, Paul Tracy. 5th right now. He is about a second behind A.J. Allmendinger as some of the leaders funnel through the casino hairpin, turn number 10. As we watch Oriol Servia in front of A.J. Allmendinger battling for 3rd. And there's Tracy in 5th. Top 2 continue to be Bourdais, who's led all the way, other than the lap he spent on pit road. Justin Wilson had closed right up on the rear wing of the McDonald's car of Bourdais earlier, Derek Daly, but Wilson now about 2.5 seconds back, so that challenge seems to have gone by the boards, at least for now. I don't know, Chris McClure, what about Wilson's car owner? Does he like what he sees out there?
I think he likes what he sees just fine. Carl, you said a few moments ago you lost a little gap because they were faster at the other end of the pit than you ever so slightly, but you didn't seem too concerned at this juncture.
No, actually, I think we're very pleased to be pitting on the same lap as the Newman Haas guys. AJ, Justin, both pitted at the same time Oriol and Sebastian did, which means we're in the ballpark because Sebastian's been in a little bit of his own ballpark this weekend so far.
Is 1.7 about the target miles per gallon that you need to make this successful?
I think that's roughly the target that's going up and down pit lane, but I think that'll put us in good shape. Justin's done a great job. Obviously, I think he made the only pass on the racetrack so far to go to 2nd. If he maintains that fuel mileage, I think he's got a good shot to stay either 2nd or maybe get after Sebastian for 1st.
Okay, go back to work.
Thanks, appreciate it, Chris.
You know, you talk about Bourdais being in a zone of his own. His pole position time was a 1:20.3. For those of you who may be F1 fans, Jenson Button in the BAR Honda was on the pole at a 15.2, so that's about 6 seconds a lap faster. Now, when you consider that a Champ car is 400 pounds heavier, 100 pounds of weight here is about 1 second a lap. There's 4 of your seconds. And you consider the tire war that goes on in Formula One. I think for the Champ cars, for all intents and purposes, to run within 2 seconds of an F1 car, I think is pretty impressive here.
And there may be, what, a 200 horsepower difference between these Champ cars and an F1 car.
F1 having now close to 1,000 horsepower, 950 definitely. There's Nelson Philippe again. We hear Philippe has brushed the wall again. We saw it earlier, but I believe we got a picture here we're going to show you. This is the second time.
Same place.
Oh, this is again Champions Corner, Champions Wall. So many of the champions of Formula One, Schumacher, Jacques Villeneuve, Damon Hill, have all hit that same concrete wall. If Nelson Philippe is not careful, this thing is not a Sherman tank. It is pretty strong, but he's going to end up making a pit stop to repair the backside of that if he's not careful.
That's 2 times he's put the right rear into that wall coming off the final corner here and heading down the front straightaway. Now, they had a tire change in between, so it's not like he hit the same wheel twice.
You know what he's trying to do? He's trying to impress his granddad. His grandparents are here. His mom and dad are here. He calls himself citizen of the world, born in France, raised in Argentina, raced in Argentina, and now lives in Miami. But he's really had a pretty good weekend here. He's been in the top 10 all the time, every session. 10's now behind Vassar, but he's looking like he's a tiny. He's daring. He's daring a little bit too much here.
Well, he's certainly got a lot of talent. A young driver, just 18. In fact, that MyJet Conquest team has 2 18-year-old drivers. Andrew Ranger, who is a native of this part of Canada, is the other driver on that team. We'll see him a little later on. Let's take a moment now as we work lap 28. Bourdais continues to lead our Bridgestone passion for excellence. Downstairs to Jan Beekes.
And of course with Joe Barbieri from Bridgestone. And there's been a lot of talk during the first segments of the race about fuel mileage. Not very much talk about tires. It looks like they're holding up great.
They really are. They really are working out well. You know, it's the same tire we brought here last year. We really didn't have any worries at all. Even with the repaving that was done, we learned from our associates there in Formula One that there'd be nothing to worry about. So we brought the exact same tire this year.
I thought it was a case of development where he didn't share information from Formula One to Champ Car, but in fact that's not the case.
It happens occasionally, sure, why not? Take advantage of every situation.
Had an opportunity to run on the track, the tires holding up great. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Bridgestone presenting the Champ Car World Series, powered by Ford. Great tires.
Joe Barbieri becoming quite the spokesperson on behalf of Bridgestone. 33 years with the Bridgestone company, so he knows everything there is to know about tires. And for those of you with the eagle eye and an eye for aerodynamics, have a look at the clamshell mirrors that have appeared this weekend on Sebastian Bourdais' car and Servia. See them there? That is the latest aerodynamic tweak by the Newman Haas team. They use the Lola wind tunnel in England. They have a team of specialists and engineers in England that do development on their particular car. And of course, monkey see, monkey do. Remember, I think it was in Cleveland, we highlighted the new wing end plates, and then Forsyth had them, and then Roo Sports had them. How long will it be before we see the clamshell mirrors on other teams?
I would bet by the next race, a month from now, at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, which is the second oval of the year. It's a high-bank, mile-and-a-half racetrack. It's a very fast place. We were told they're the mirrors that come standard with a Lola on the little post, and you can move them anywhere the driver likes on the side pod. We're told that the new design mirrors that Newman Haas has debuted here makes about a 2 pounds of drag difference. That's nothing, is it?
Can you imagine that? Well, if it was 100th of a second, every 10 laps you go by, it's 1/10 of a second. Multiply that by 10, and it's 1 second. And at 200 miles an hour, 1 second, you cover the full length of a football field. You know something? Justin Wilson has a problem here, and I'll tell you what it is. His gears are too short. When he gets to the end of the straight, he's no longer on the rev limiter because he's backing out of the power. So he is backing out, either saving fuel or cannot go hard against that rev limiter. He is in a strategic mode right now. Maybe we can get an update on that, but he is definitely backing off at the end of these straights.
And if you were commenting earlier on how the rev limiter was coming into play for him, that would be an indication that the gear ratios might not be optimum for the CDW9. Sebastian Bourdais continues to lead back in Montreal in a moment. Welcome back to the Champ Car Grand Prix of Montreal on NBC Sports. It's Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Hey, next Saturday, 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 Pacific, the AVP Nissan Series back on NBC. The Chicago Open presented by McDonald's. Golden Girls of Athens, Misty May, Kerry Walsh look for another win on the AVP Nissan Tour. The Chicago Open presented by McDonald's. Our coverage next Saturday, 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 Pacific, here on NBC. I'm Rick Benjamin, Derek Daly alongside, riding with Alex Tagliani in the Aussie Vineyards number 15 for Derek Walker's team. 7th right now, Derek. He was passed by Mario Dominguez as we watch a move here on Serbia. 3rd spot, Allmendinger inside into the chicane.
Oh, he chased him down for the last 3 laps, got slowly closer to him. He lost it. He lost the position again.
Serbia, this lets Tracy reel him in. So an inside-out pass. Serbia back on the button, takes the spot right back.
So when AJ turned in, he was off the racing line. And that is the most difficult corner to negotiate the exit because so many people have hit the concrete wall on the outside. AJ wisely backed off and gave the opportunity again for Serbia to take the position back. Good stuff here.
One of those places, we talked about it at the top of the broadcast, not much runoff area here. The wall's very close to the racing surface most of the way around on both sides, so you just don't have much margin for error here.
And of course, right behind him was Paul Tracy, ready to pounce if those two boys got into an argy-bargy. Wow, that was good. I mean, that was a risk worth taking there for AJ Allmendinger.
Allmendinger settling back into 4th. Here's another look at it, heading down toward the chicane. Final couple of corners. Good move to get there.
Straight forward here, in under his rear wing, got the draft, got the suction, and now he's on the inside. Now Serbia can't turn in. Now, he clips the curb. That's what it was. Clips the curb on the inside. That is a one-way ticket to the concrete wall. Usually, he held it in control and just about got away with it, but it did lose the position.
33 laps upcoming as the leaders come up the front straightaway one more time. 3rd, 4th, and 5th. The Pacific Air 2 of Serbia. There's the Western Union 10 of Allmendinger in 4th, and Paul Tracy in 5th. One more look at how Serbia got back by.
So watch Allmendinger hits the curb right there, hits the curb. Oh, gathers it up and Servia comes down the inside.
And Tracy thought, my chance to pounce and maybe get up to third. He wasn't quite close enough.
Wow, when Allmendinger hit the wall there and had to gather that thing up, I bet he was saying, oh no, not again.
Well, you talked about it earlier, Derek. Allmendinger, with all the promise in the world, won the Barber Dodge Championship a couple of years ago, then the Atlantic Series Championship in 03. Rookie of the Year, the Roche France Rookie of the Year in Champ Car a year ago. Still searching for that first victory. And Allmendinger continues to press very, very hard. Third at Denver 2 weeks ago, his third podium of the season. 33 laps on the board. Sebastian Bourdais has led all the way. Justin Wilson about 3 seconds back in second spot. Glad to be back on NBC Sports with Champ Car for the second time in 2005. And we've been privileged this weekend to be joined by a very familiar face on NBC Sports downstairs with Jan Bikas.
Yes, and of course that would be Bob Costas. He was here doing some interviews with Paul Newman. How did that go for you, Bob?
Well, it's a look at Paul Newman, kind of his interest in racing as opposed to this particular race. What got him into it? You probably know it was when he was filming a movie called Winning in 1969, and he had never been in a race car prior to that. He was already in his 40s, and he discovered a love for it, and now he probably spends more of his time with this than he does with the movies.
Now, obviously, he has turned into a big race fan. How about yourself?
Well, I have to admit that I came here with about as much racing knowledge as would be required to fill a thimble, and maybe now I've got 2 thimbles worth, but I've enjoyed it, but I'm not pretending to be an expert.
Well, I know they're trying to get you in the 2-seater, so someday I think you'll get a real thrill.
Yeah, in fact, I was scheduled to be in the 2-seater before the race today, and I was looking forward to it. They didn't have an available driver, so it's an opportunity missed, at least for now.
Thank you, Bob.
Okay, Jan, thanks.
Bob Costas, of course, the host of NBC's Olympic coverage, coming up in Torino, Italy in a few minutes.
If they could have got Bob Costas into that 2-seater, and they run it every weekend, if they can get him in, people who experience it say it is unlike anything they read about, anything they dreamed it would be. It is such a thrill to get into the... You literally sit behind one of these drivers in that 2-seater. Phenomenal thing.
I'm not going to go until you'll drive.
I might do that.
All right, the challenge has been laid on the table. Watching these 3 drivers have been battling for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Oriol Servia here in the Pacific Air 2. There's the Western Union Roost Sport number 10 of A.J. Allmendinger. Paul Tracy in the Index 3 and 5th.
Bob Costas is obviously covering Paul Newman. For anybody who wants to have a real up-close and personal look, there is a reality show called Race Car Driver that is going to be on the air for the first time in September the 7th. There's 13 episodes apparently put together. It's on WGN Superstation. It features the Forsyth team leading with Paul Tracy. It features the Newman Haas team and the PKV team with Vassar and D'Amata. They showed the first episode here last night over at the Forsyth Hospitality. It is a really interesting behind-the-scenes look at what goes on with some of the stars of Champ Car racing here, so I highly recommend anybody to tune in September 7th, WGN.
Still all green today as Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series, powered by Ford, the Molson Champ Car Grand Prix of Montreal, riding with Alex Tagliani in 7th spot in the Aussie Vineyards car. Regular feature on our telecast, Ask the Announcers. If you'd like to send us a question, visit champcarworldseries.com, click on Ask the Announcers, file your question. We've got a good one today. We'll get to it when we continue in Montreal. Back to Montreal, the Champ Car Grand Prix of Montreal. Coming up on NBC this fall, the story of a man named Earl. He's done things he's not proud of. He's going to make up more than one mistake at a time, even if it hurts. My name is Earl. NBC Tuesdays this fall. Oh, we mentioned a few moments ago, you're welcome to send us a question about Champ Car Racing at champcarworldseries.com. Here's today's question from Randy Fortier of Essex, Ontario, Canada. Is the weight of the driver included with the car's weight? Would it be more fair if the cars and drivers' weights were equalized? Derek Daly, what do you think?
Well, the fact is, it is fair because after Cristiano D'Amata won the championship in 2002, being the lightest driver, Champ Car changed the rules, and now the driver and the car are weighed together. They give a minimum weight limit. So in other words, every car for all intents and purposes is a completely different weight, because until you add the driver in, you do not get to your minimum weight limit.
And some series don't do that. And weight in a race car, how much would a team spend to save 30 or 40 pounds of weight in a car?
Oh, a huge amount. And earlier we mentioned 100 pounds would be a second a lap. 50 pounds, Half a second, 20 pounds, 0.2 of a second. If Justin Wilson had 0.2 of a second right now, he'd be all over the backside of Sebastian Bourdais.
Working lap number 39 of 79, 40 to go today at the Champ Car Grand Prix of Montreal, and we get close again. We've been all green, no cautions thus far on this 2.7-mile permanent road circuit here at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, Ile de Notre Dame in Montreal. Getting very close to the second pit window. Now, we had some very exciting action during the first round of green flag stops. We saw some position changes coming off pit road. Mario Dominguez moving to 6th, getting by Tagliani. Justin Wilson tried very hard in the CDW9 car to get by the race leader. Already the Dale Coyne cars on pit road. This is Ronnie Bremer and Ricardo Spirifico. Spirifico in the Sonny's Barbecue 11 away first. Bremer, who was running back in 17th spot, trying to move off for pit road quickly and trail his teammate, get back on the race course.
And that's the American Medical Response car. Just has not been on the pace here all weekend, which is unusual for Bremer, as Dominguez now slides in the first of the Forsyth cars.
Fuel goes in. He's up on the air jacks. No manual jacks in these cars. 4 new Bridgestone Potenzas, slick versions of the Bridgestones this weekend. We had rain tires on during the morning warm-up. He's off in 11.3 seconds. Jimmy Vasser was on pit road. This is Cristiano D'Amata, the Bell Micro Lola for the PKV team, as they head back up onto the racetrack. Leaders, though, Bourdais, Wilson, Servia, and Allmendinger yet to stop. The Liqui-Moly number 4, Bjorn Verdheim, just ducking down pit road. Verdheim back in 13th for the HVM team. You get a look at the full grandstands. This is the Casino Corner grandstand, turn 10 here at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Here's Wilson, second in that CDW car for the Rousport team. 3.6 seconds back of Bourdais, as Bourdais has led every lap. Wilson's been using his power to pass. Neither of the leaders has used much of that in the last many laps. Andrew Ranger, meantime, had a problem as he was leaving pit road. Take a look. This is Nelson Philippe as he leaves pit road. Ranger up over a tire.
And that is not his fault, because the mechanics have to move those tires to give their driver a clear run out of the pit lane.
Now, would that be a penalty, Derek? Here's another look.
Watch it right here, middle of your screen.
Verdheim stopping right in front of Ranger. Chris McClure, what did you see?
A.J. Allmendinger is in. The pit stop is nearly concluded. He's away. Servia's with Jan. Yeah, Servia gets out first. It was 10.7 seconds. They added some front wing. No position change between A.J. Allmendinger and Oriol Servia. They now set up for the leader. So a few cars in 1 lap early.
Servia now shown 4th. Allmendinger now shown 5th there in the Western Union car. Here's Servia in the Pacific Care machine. Paul Tracy has stayed out on the racetrack, so he vaults into 3rd.
Okay, now here's a key. Tracy now is on low fuel. He is more than 100 pounds lighter than these two guys here, Servia and Allmendinger. If he can do 1 lap or maybe even 2 laps, he possibly might be able to make a pass at least on A.J. Allmendinger, because he was right behind him.
Leaders are in. Here comes Sebastian Bourdais to pit road. Justin Wilson right behind him. Tracy tears a tear-off away. Leaders heading toward their pit stalls. Chris McClure, Justin Wilson challenging, headed your way.
Bourdais already by his headed his pit down the way. Here's Wilson in front of us. He has come to stop on the marks. No changes expected. All the tires are coming on. Once they're on, we'll let it go. The tires are on and it's down. And Sebastian Bourdais is waiting for his fuel. And he easily beats out Sebastian easily beats out Justin Wilson. It was a picture-perfect stop. We're watching Paul Tracy at the same time taking his last bit of fuel. Nice routine stop for Paul Tracy.
All these leader stops coming on lap 41. A.J. Allmendinger.
There's Allmendinger.
Servia there. Tracy slots in between Servia and Allmendinger.
And that was purely because he was able to go that 1 lap longer on a nice light racing car. He probably made up 2 seconds, and that allowed him to get past A.J. Allmendinger. Wow, how frustrating it is for Allmendinger now to see Tracy ahead of him on the track when he couldn't pass him on the racetrack.
On board with Tracy in the Indyk number 3, the 2003 Champ Car World Series champion, as he starts to pull away now from Allmendinger. These stops coming on lap 41 of 79. So there are 38 laps remaining. If we go by lap count, 2-hour time limit here this weekend.
Allmendinger flew through that right-left chicane. He's going to have a He's going to have a challenge in the brake zone. Oh, Tracy locks it up.
Casino corner. Allmendinger had trouble here a year ago and goes way wide. Can't get up on Tracy. Trying to get to the inside of him.
On cold tires. Allmendinger taking a chance. He's coming again. He's coming again. He's faster down the straight here. Can he get inside of the brake zone? Here he goes. Big chance. No, He didn't do it.
Tracy with brake lock up in the chicane off of turn 12.
I hear you, AJ. We hear you.
Listening to AJ Allmendinger as he talks to his team.
I think that was Tracy that was shouting at him. Look at Tracy blocks the inside defensive line. Allmendinger overshoots completely. Oh, cold tires. Look at dust flying up from offline as Tracy takes that defensive line. But Allmendinger overshot. Just went way too deep on those cold tires.
Shows you what a dogfight it is in the Champ Car World Series between these great drivers.
It is a street fight, a dogfight. You're exactly right. That one of the youngest drivers versus one of the most experienced drivers right there.
Working lap number 43, Sebastian Bourdais, as we cycle through the green flag pit stops, continues to lead, and he adds to that lead. Now almost 5 seconds in front of Justin Wilson. This is a terrific battle for fourth. Tracy pressured hard here by Allmendinger. Bourdais has led all the way. He set the fastest race lap at a $1:21.67. Average pace 1:24.69. AJ Allmendinger and Paul Tracy, what a battle we're seeing, Jan Beekes.
You heard those radio communications. I believe that was AJ calling back. It was hard to hear, but they believed that Paul Tracy was driving a wide car, I guess would be the way to describe it. Certainly looked like he took an inside line into the hairpin. And remember the history of these two. Paul Tracy was actually the team owner for AJ Allmendinger's karting series. So it's a case where you've got pupil, and you've got the case of the owner and the pupil, and at the moment, Paul Tracy is continuing to teach him some good lessons.
Young and brave in the yellow and white car, old and brave in the blue car with Paul Tracy. Paul Tracy, very much AJ Allmendinger's mentor, noticed him when he was a teenager, said, I want him in my go-kart team, put him in, he won everything. But Tracy did make his car white. Well, he took a defensive line. Don't tell me Allmendinger didn't learn a lesson right there and will do exactly the same thing. First lap out of the pits. What did he just say? Something about I have to pass him?
You still need to race Paul. You still need to race Paul.
Don't need to race Paul is what they're telling Allmendinger at this stage of the game. With 43 laps of 79 on the board. You know, it's an interesting case here. Tracy, many people think he's coming to the end of his Champ Car career. Certainly not the end of his days as a race driver at age 37. The champion 2 years ago. Badly wants it again this season, but I'm reminded of what Dale Earnhardt Sr., the late great Dale Earnhardt, used to say, old age and treachery will beat youthful exuberance anytime, and we just saw another example of it right there as Tracy continues to run fourth in front of Allmendinger. Tracy's eyewitness view to this, the 2 wins so far in 2005, coming at Milwaukee and Cleveland. Back with more on the Molson Champ Car Grand Prix of Montreal after this message and a word from your local NBC station.
You're watching Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series, powered by Ford.
They built the American Pavilion for the 1967 World's Fair, a geodesic dome designed by the great Buckminster Fuller. Part of the architecture you see here at Ile de Notre Dame in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Welcome back to the Molson Champ Car Grand Prix of Montreal on NBC Sports. I'm Rick Benjamin. Derek Daly is alongside. Working lap 47 of 79. Running order, top of the screen. And we always get the opportunity to bring on the Vice President of Operations for the Champ Car World Series, Tony Kottman. He is the chief official. He watches what the drivers are up to. Tony, thanks for taking time from Race Control to chat with us today. A couple of things we wanted to ask you about. We saw in that last pit stop, the MyJack car, Andrew Ranger, apparently ran over a tire. Now, a lot of racing series would call that a penalty. Any issue there?
No, I think, you know, we never had a great view of it, and we're just going off what people are saying, so we're going to let that one go right now.
And what about Paul Tracy? We had an indication that you were watching closely as Allmendinger and Tracy were battling hard for position a few moments ago. Tracy do anything wrong there?
He's right on the verge of it, so we're watching him hard and monitoring that situation really closely.
Blocking not allowed?
Absolutely not allowed.
All right. Well, we will watch and see what plays out the rest of the afternoon. Thank you, Tony Kottman, for joining us from Race Control here in Montreal today. Working lap 47, Bourdais continues to lead. He's led all the way. Now, remember, Derek Daly, as we ride here with Paul Tracy in the Index number 3, Bourdais 15th and 19th, his third time here. He's never run well, never even been running at the finish. He's led all the laps so far. Pretty dominant.
It is pretty dominant, and when you consider the stats are a bit against him, he's never been good here. The pole man has never ever won the race here in the 4 times we've been here, so he may go against the grain here a little bit. Interesting point that Tony Cotman brings up. There are rules, and they're written down, and they're black and white, but Tony Cotman has sort of brought a sense of control, yet a sense of flexibility to Champ Car racing. If he doesn't see that it was blatant or malicious and nobody gains advantage, he tends to let it slide. I like that.
Let the guys race.
Yeah, I like that flexibility. And you know, I'm sure he'll make decisions that will be hard and people won't agree with sometimes, but there certainly is a flexibility that has allowed the races to go and flow here. However, I bet you Allmendinger believes that Tracy may have gone a little bit too far in that incident, which was defensive driving. However, could be called as, you know, somewhat a bit of blocking.
As we watch Bourdais heading to the front straightaway to put lap 48 on the board, his lead over Justin Wilson nearly 5 seconds as the McDonald's machine continues to stretch it out. Well, let's give you another look at this racetrack. 2.7 miles around. We take you full throttle now with Alex Tagliani, full cry down the big straightaway.
Oh, he's on the rev limiter. That was Rob Edwards, his engineer. Second gear. Currently 6th. Chasing Allmendinger. Oh, right over the curve. You saw Wilson do that earlier. Twits the curves here. Ainer on the edge piece earlier. This is where he took the next corner is where he said he crashes over the top of the curves. Watch this. Attack the curves. Right over the top. Boom.
You can hear the impact when he does that.
First gear. New sponsorship, left side pod there. NCAN Direct Auto Gregoire. It is a car sales group that sells something like 2,000 cars a month. Friend of Tagliani.
Who grew up not far from here. This is one of his home tracks, definitely.
Did you know that Tag made $1 million recently?
Did he?
Oh, Dominguez right behind him. Yeah, Tag built a gorgeous house in Las Vegas, and right as he was about to move in, somebody came in, looked at us, says, "I love it," wrote him a big check for $1 million more than he paid for it.
He's become a real estate magnate.
Yes, he has. So
as
now,
well as an accomplished driver.
He and Bronte moved into an apartment in Las Vegas. They are now doing it all over again, building another house. Dominguez wants a position here from Tag. Look at him. Right behind him. Great camera shot here, unusual shot.
Now this is looking back at the rear suspension on the right side of this race car, the Aussie Vineyards 15, and there's the INDYCAR of Dominguez, the 7. You can just see him peeking there back around the struts and the rear axle on that side of the car.
And D'Amato's behind Dominguez. I saw him poke his nose out too.
Those 3 drivers all within about 1.5 seconds of each other right now.
That's the hairpin.
There's D'Amato. You see the red and white Bell Micro car back there. One of the PKV entries.
This is one of the scoops, the green scoop bottom of your picture. With the flugelhorn, it creates downforce right in front of the rear wing. Oh, hear him on the limiter. He's trying to stave off Dominguez. I think the wind must have changed here because there are so many cars here on the rev limiter down this long straight. I think they've missed on top gear. They just don't have a gear long enough to run off this rev limiter.
Now less than 30 laps to go here today at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Let's show you the last 3 years. This is only the 4th time Champ Car has been here. Last year, Sebastian Bourdais on the pole had problems. Bruno Junqueira the winner. In 03, Tagliani was on the pole and should have won. Most observers thought he led 52 laps, but Michel Jourdain bagged a rare win. Dario Franchitti the winner in 02. Jan Bikus at 2 pit stops complete. 1 more to come, and we've been all green so far.
And there have been some pretty exciting pit stops indeed. Derek, you were talking about that rev limiter and the wind. It hasn't changed much. There's a slight headwind, but remember, this morning's warm-up where you typically pick your gearing on full tanks was wet. So essentially these teams have had no practice in a race setup. They've only been working on qualifying. That would be why a gear might be off.
Justin Wilson there just nipping by one of the coin cars. Lapping him again. This is Wilson in second.
And 1.69 to stay on our lap.
Okay, 1.69 miles to the gallon. This is a great shot here because when his arms go down, you can actually see his chest pound. Racing drivers at this level have a heartbeat about 175 beats per minute while they are racing. Now, I'm talking over the course of an hour and a half, hour 45. 175 plus heartbeats per minute. That is a staggering number. And believe it or not, if you want to look at another athlete, cyclists are the only other athletes that have sustained heartbeats as high as professional race car drivers.
You hear that debate all the time. Watering holes particularly. Are race drivers really athletes? Well, that speaks to the fact that these are highly trained, highly tuned athletes.
Absolutely, and they're in a hostile environment because they wear 5 layers of a fireproof uniform that doesn't breathe that well. That helps it be fireproof. They put a balaclava on, they put a helmet on, and the last thing they do is they close the visor down. What you need is cool, fresh oxygen to replenish the body and to cool it down. They are in the worst environment to have that type of cool, fresh oxygen.
Royal Serbia there, the Pacific Air 2 car from the outside pole got passed by Justin Wilson. Early in the going, he settles into third behind race leader Sebastian Bourdais. Riding with Paul Tracy, who is fourth. We'll be back in Montreal. Now our Ford Built for the Road Ahead Spotlight. A big week for Ford Racing in Montreal. They hosted a major street festival on Crescent Street downtown. Hundreds of fans able to get out, hear some wonderful music, see some incredible cars, and a terrific environment. The weather was just perfect. The fans got up-close looks at Champ Car show cars. Many got their pictures taken. And of course, Ford had a full product line on display, including the brand new Fusion, the beautiful new Ford Mustang, and there was a great group of high-performance Celine Mustangs on hand for folks to have a look at as well. Many of the Champ Car drivers were in attendance, including champion Sebastian Bourdais. The drivers helped unveil the 550 horsepower Ford GT, which paced the Champ Car field for the third time this year at today's Grand Prix of Montreal. Fans also got the chance to meet their heroes up close and personal, autographs, handshakes, and one-on-one time with the stars of the Champ Car World Series in downtown Montreal. Ryan Hunter-Reay signing some autographs, but Derek Daly, as we get a look, he's about to be lapped again by Justin Wilson. The Rocket Sports backup box 31, they lost the shock cover off the cowl of that car, and a mirror is askew.
Which will only make a slight performance disadvantage for Ryan Hunter-Reay. Had a big crash here on Friday morning, could not repair the car. What did Wilson do? Did Wilson just lift his arm up and maybe tear a visor off? But Ryan Hunter-Reay just has struggled. They just cannot get the car right. It's a shame to see the struggle. And on Friday, believe it or not, he had an identical accident to the one he had a couple of years ago in the Stefan Johansson's car.
Another look here. Let's show you what has happened to Ryan Hunter-Reay here in Montreal as we watch Wilson putting pressure on the driver in 15th. Friday, that was Hunter-Reay in the first backup box 31, hard into the wall, damaged the tub of the car, tore the nose off the race car. They had to put that car back in the hauler and bring out a spare car, and now they've lost the cowl piece off that car, a bit of bodywork that covers the shock absorbers inside, and his right side mirror is flopped over as well. Maybe when that cowl piece came off, it might have knocked into the mirror. Justin Wilson's had a difficult weekend as well here in the CDW car, runs second, 5.5 seconds behind race leader Sebastian Bourdais. Yesterday, the gearbox let go in that car during the practice, caused a big oil fire back around the turbo and the motor. So they basically took the motor, the gearbox, and the whole rear of the car off of their spare and bolted it up to the front of the 9-car AP running. There you get a look at the Rocket Sports car, the backup box 31, missing that bodywork. What does that do aerodynamically, Derek? That's got to slow him down a great deal.
Yeah, that will add drag, but really they've been off the pace. Ryan Hunter-Reay is running in the 1 minute 25 second range. The leaders are in the 1:22s, so he's 2.5 seconds plus off the pace anyway. So An extra bit of drag from that makes no difference. And hey, it might just give him some nice air conditioning as he flies down these long straights.
Well, Hunter Ray has had only 3 top 10s this season. He comes off a 6th at Denver 2 weeks ago. He was a beneficiary of the big first lap incident that took several cars out and put others behind the wall for numerous laps. Let's show you how the top 6 or 8 are running right now as we get down to the last 22 laps here in Montreal on NBC Sports as Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series powered by Ford. Sebastian Bourdais, the McDonald's #1 on the pole. He swept both qualifying sessions, scored 2 bonus points here this weekend, adding to his championship lead, and he has dominated, Derek. No one's been anywhere near him on the racetrack. Wilson got around the outside pole sitter, serve hit early. Here's Wilson in the CDW #9, the winner at Toronto, 2nd right now, but he just can't stay in touch with Bourdais at all.
No, doesn't have the outright speed. It appears challenged before that first pit stop. There's the rev limiter. Now he's off the power, I think Wilson is suffering more than most out there with having a top gear that's just too short. And as Jan Beekes told us earlier, probably...
Oh, one of the AMR cars. Actually, that's the Sonny's Barbecue car of Ricardo Sperifico into the wall, coming into pit road. He had damage on the car. We'll show it to you in a moment as we ride with Wilson. It happened right in front of our broadcast location. At the entrance to pit road, you can see the Sonny's Barbecue car has crashed hard into the wall at the entrance to pit road. At the end of the long straightaway leading to the chicane, we may well get our first caution of the day, and there it is. Sperifico takes the wheel off. You can see him moving. He's okay. I think the rear wing may have come off, Derek. The nose definitely broken off. Full course yellow with 22 laps to go. First full course yellow of the day as Sperifico takes the belts off and climbs out. This is from Paul Tracy's onboard coming down the straightaway, and the wing went flying over Tracy's race car. Rear wing had come off the car. There you see A.J. Allmendinger locking up the brakes. Both he and Tracy went through. They missed the timing line there, but since the yellow was about to come out, I doubt if there will be a penalty. Pits are closed. 2nd time this weekend, Sperifico's had a hard wreck. He wrecked Friday during practice. They put a whole new car together essentially for him, and now he makes that, well, at least it's a short walk to get back to the pit stall, and we're under yellow with Bourdais the leader. Now, 57 laps, 21 to go. I think this sets up a very interesting strategic situation. Chris McClure, Jan Beekes, maybe you can weigh in with your thoughts. Can they stop under this caution and get the rest of the way home?
Absolutely, not a problem at all. They're in the window. They had already looked on their sheets, and they were looking for if you want to pit now, because we have a few dark clouds around. They were considering staying out longer in case they needed rain tire, but right now, let's get back to Rick.
All right, problems for A.J. Allmendinger. You'll see him, Jan, in a moment. His left front tire is cut down. I think he ran over that wing as it flew off Sperifico's car. We had a great look. I'm sure we can show it to you again. We were on Paul Tracy's onboard look. You saw the wing go flying over Tracy's head and out the back. Watch this as they come under the casino bridge. And Allmendinger clipped it. That's what flattened his tire. You could see the wing off the 11 car go flying over Tracy. There's Allmendinger standing on the brakes with that cut tire. He couldn't get to pit road. He had missed the entrance to pit road. He and Tracy both missed the timing line. Now here's the Western Union 10 car. Very much a strong day for this team. They've been solidly in the top 5, and Allmendinger will stop now. The good news is this will be an opportunity for them to stop on sequence at least. Chris McClure, he's headed your way.
He comes in, he has no braking on the left front, but he puts it on the marks anyway. Now, the flat tire does not matter. It's up in the air, and the pit stop is underway. I see no other damage on the front of the car. They clean away a piece of debris from underneath, and away he goes. So it was just a flat tire. It doesn't look as though anything else happened to the car.
Now let's ask a question, Derek Daly and Chris McClure. You can certainly weigh in on this. With the pits closed, can Allmendinger stop with the cut tire?
I believe that Tony Cotman, who we just had on, will look at that situation and say, absolutely, despite the fact that it's closed, you can go down there. That was a dangerous situation. If he'd have gone one more lap, the tire would have shredded, taken the wing off, taken the suspension off, and this was nothing that he did himself. Running over that wing. Now, we saw a wing peel off this morning in the warm-up. On Nelson Philippe's car, we saw the rear wing end plate peel off, and it appears that this was some sort of a failure on the back of this car, and it's the highest speed on this racetrack. Very scary for Sperifico, who appears maybe he has a wrist injury. Chris?
Well, it's always been my understanding, Derek, to extend the Allmendinger situation a little bit further, or the explanation. If you're disabled out there, you can come into a closed pit in order to stay in competition. I'm with Carl Russo, who just stepped down. Carl, you came in, it was closed down the other end, but you had a flat tire. Seems legal to me.
Yeah, you'll have to go dig out the rule book. We're getting a few sprinkles here to boot.
We are.
One of the coin cars, I don't know who it was, hit the fence. Stuff flew off, went over Paul Tracy, hit AJ. So this sounds like Montreal last year, from the front to the back, to the front to the back. He's going to come soldiering back through. Justin's in good shape. The Western Union car is going to make its way through the field. We'll see if we can keep the CDW car in second and maybe go after Sebastian.
That's a mouthful, but he said it all, and it is sprinkling on pit road.
Now, this could really change things dramatically as Allmendinger is okay. There's Spirifico. And Champ Car Safety Team truck number 2. Crew chief is Dave Hollander. He's an EMT and a firefighter from Clark, New Jersey. John Mull is there. Chris Hill and Tom Harrelson, the great Champ Car Safety Team, right on the spot to have a look at Spirifico. Derek, I think this all began when the wing flew off of the 11 car.
Now watch Paul Tracy's car. When the wing comes over, the top in the brake zone, there it is there. The wing end plates are like knives. They're carbon fiber, and they will just slice through. And immediately, the reason Allmendinger missed the turn-in point is because that left rear front tire is already flat. So he made a full lap, lost a lot of positions, went all the way down to 13th place because the wing of Spirifico's car literally sliced through that left front. I'm just glad it didn't hit his head.
Absolutely. I mean, that's coming at you. You're at a $185 or a $190, and that thing is just flying. You've got no chance. There's Allmendinger. He's closed up to the back of the pack, and he won't need to stop. We're under yellow. 20 laps to go here in Montreal. Pit road will be open. We're hearing from pit road. Chris McClure mentioned it a moment ago. Sprinkles. We had a lot of rain early in the day. They practiced this morning in rain tires. Does anybody gamble here and put rains on now?
Well, there's a man there, Paul Tracy, in the blue and white INDYCAR, who does not want to see rain. This morning in the warm-up, when it rained, Tracy thought it might be to his advantage. The car was terrible, had no rear traction, was all over the place as he tried to get through the half-hour warm-up session this morning. So he does not want to see rain. But what this also now does is the fuel consumption figures that all these front runners have watched so closely as this race went on now do not become as big an issue. So we could easily see Bourdais, Wilson, Servia turn loose here and really have a street fight to sort this thing out in these closing laps. Jan?
It's a situation when you talk about the raindrops are getting a bit bigger. You've got the top teams all set out with their slick tires. They're looking up, putting their hands out. They know if they stayed on the racetrack, they could wait to see if they needed wet tires, but they don't ever want to give up an opportunity to stop under caution. So it appears as though all the leaders will take slicks. If it started to rain, they'll be back again.
Here come the leaders. Bourdais is first in line in the McDonald's one. He's led all the way, working toward lap number 60. Then Wilson, Servia, and Tracy. Jan Beekes.
And we're going to watch all the leaders at one time to see if we do have any changes of position. Obviously, Sebastian Bourdais will be at the front. He's got the best seat in the house when it comes to pit stops, but we're looking back to see if anybody takes a little less fuel. Paul Tracy was in a little bit of trouble coming in. Paul Tracy's going to lose a lot of time. He could not get into position. Wow! Look at Servia! Oh my gosh, the leader has lost 2 spots. Boy, you talk about changing the position. You saw it here.
What has happened to Sebastian Bourdais' team? They are normally flawless on pit road. Somehow they cough up the lead of this group of cars. Now, Timo Glock and AJ Allmendinger will cycle to the front here because they had stopped earlier. Glock had come in before all this happened, and we saw the situation with Allmendinger. He came onto a closed pit road because that wing that flew off had cut his tire. Now let's show you again what happened here. Leaders coming up pit road.
Right
That's
side
Bourdais
of your
on the front.
screen, bottom right-hand corner is Bourdais. He was the first man in. He should have been in control of the situation as he's been all day. Here comes Wilson, left side of your screen. Wilson is clear. Servia is clear before they drop Bourdais. Most uncharacteristic for that team to have a long pit stop, and they didn't need a lot of fuel to finish from here. Jan, any more?
Yes, it was the inside rear that they had trouble with, and there was just a huge discussion here. In fact, some very aggressive words amongst the crew, and the question was, is it on tight? The answer is, we think so.
Well, if it is on tight, we are in for a barnstormer here, because Bourdais, who was so popular here in French-Canadian country, has been the fastest man all weekend. Can he now attack his own teammate Servia, who is yet to win a race? And can Wilson hang on for win number 2?
Now we'll reset the running order. Timo Glock, who stopped in the DHL Global Mail 8 car earlier, he was the first car to stop. Here's a look at Tracy's problem as he headed to pit road.
Have a look at Tracy, because he hits one of his own men right here. Look. Oh! Boom! Gets too close to him. He lifts his legs off the ground. Still gets dropped off. That cost him a huge amount of time.
He's in the wall there. He put the wheel into the wall.
Yes, he did. Paul Tracy trying to make up some time with a fast pit stop. Loses so much, Chris.
Quick word a moment ago with Todd Malloy, who runs the operations for the number 9 car here in the pits. Justin Wilson got 4 tires and nearly a full load of fuel. They did short fill ever so slightly on purpose, about 4 gallons short. That was to get him out a little bit quicker. I said, are you good to go? He said, yeah, we are. That's what we planned, and we think we are.
Well, we shall see how it plays out. 19 laps remaining, 30 minutes of racing. Should be just enough time to get all these laps in if we go green next time by. Glock will be the restart leader. He stopped first when pit road was open. Then we had the incident with Spirafico. Allmendinger's tire was cut. Allmendinger stopped. He'll restart second. Then it'll be Wilson, Servia, and Bourdais. We'll be back with more of the Molson Champ Car Grand Prix of Montreal after these messages and Lewis Johnson with an ADT Security NBC Sports update. Welcome back to Montreal on NBC Sports. Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series powered by Ford. Laps winding down, 16 to go next time by. And we have a great story developing here. I'm Rick Benjamin with Derek Daly on Beacus, Chris McClure on pit road. Wild action on pit stops. A lot of things have happened. Paul Tracy, who was running in the top 5, clipped a tire. Then a crewman got hit on pit road, and that put Tracy way back. He will be back 13th on this restart. Here's another look. Derek, you pointed it out. He hit the crew member, knocked him upside down, and got into the wall there. They were able to push him back, get him pointed in the right direction. He lost a lot of time on pit road. All of this happened after Ricardo Spirafico lost his wing, cut A.J. Allmendinger's tires. Jan Beekes.
And certainly bad news for Paul Tracy. The good news is no one was hurt on the Forsyth Index crew. Obviously, they're discouraged that they lost some time, but thankfully no injury.
Now you see A.J. Allmendinger at the back of the field. Champ Car has assessed a penalty on Allmendinger, but Timo Glock, who came here in F1 last year, Derek, and scored a championship point, he'll be the restart leader in that DHL car because he pitted earlier.
He happened to come in 2 or 3 laps before the yellow flag came out. It fell into his lap. Can he now lead? Does he have enough fuel to go to the end? But Wilson, Servia, and Bourdais hang on to your hollyhocks because this is going to be a barnstormer.
Green and going here in Montreal. Glock leads him through turn 1. This is the right-hander now, the carousel. Third is Servia, 1 car off. Now, that's the car of Dominguez. He collects Nelson Philippe. Dominguez having trouble getting up through the gears. Tracy's trying to get by. Let's go to Tracy's car. He's alongside his teammate now.
It's exactly what Tracy did in the opening lap last year. Cold tires, remember, cold tires.
Marcus Marshall there in the 5.
Oh, he got him. Dominguez was lucky to get away with that, as was Nelson Philippe.
Looked like he might have missed a shift there.
Don't know, but Glock is leading now. Can Glock hang on in the Rocket Sports car? There's Bourdais.
Do they have enough fuel? What about Bourdais? Does Servia get team orders? Remember that Servia is a driver who's a relief driver for Bruno Junqueira. Let's get an update. Chris McClure.
Well, a lot of his success in racing and comedy is timing. Paul Gentilozzi is stopped a little ahead of the leaders a few moments ago. Now you have the lead. Did you catch lightning in a bottle here?
Well, we may have, Chris. We were having trouble with fuel economy. We pitted early. The bet was we could get a yellow. We got one. Now the bet is, can Timo hang on to it? We have a lot of faith in him. A bunch of fast guys behind him.
Does he have to save fuel to get there?
We should run out just after the green.
Oh, did you see what just happened?
Yes.
Servia did a kamikaze move down the inside of Wilson, took both of them off the road for all intents and purposes, and Bourdais takes advantage of it.
Sebastian Bourdais moves up. Oriol Servia to second, but some drivers missed the timing line. Now, we'll get a ruling. We hope to talk to Tony Kottman, the Champ Car Vice President of Operations and race official, key race director here, to find out if there will be penalties. You saw Justin Wilson from his onboard that he was taken offline and through the cutoff area in the final chicane as well. Jan Beekes.
Oriol Servia's situation, just as he made that move, was checking with the team, and they said there are no team orders. They are not going to ask Servia to move over and let the team leader through. They want him to race it, and obviously you can tell by that aggressive move, they're certainly not telling him to back off.
So Glock continues to lead, 14
Here's
laps
the
to
long
go.
back straight. Servia right behind. He goes down the inside. Now, if he can stick his nose, oh, he goes too far. Goes too far. Wilson can no longer turn in. They both miss the chicane. Now, this is something that was discussed earlier. There goes Bourdais.
This is a different situation. This is the Dominguez incident where he went off course and through the grass and then caught up Philippe.
Did you see why he went off course? Because Philippe was out of control, and Philippe almost ran into the side of Dominguez. Dominguez took avoiding action, went onto the grass, then came off the grass and kissed him.
Now Champ Car officials busily looking at replays. Another car goes through that cutoff area in front of us. Looks like it might have been Paul Tracy.
No, one of the HVM cars, and in fact, there's bodywork now on the racetrack. That is the shock cover from one of the HVM cars.
Still green, 14 to go. We might get a local yellow. Now, Timo Glock is the leader. Pitted earlier. The leaders came in after that caution came out moments ago when Ricardo Spirafico whacked the wall after his rear wing flew off. It cut A.J. Allmendinger's tire. I'd like to find out about A.J. Allmendinger and that penalty. Champ Car saying he had to start from the back. He was able to pit while pits were closed. Last year's Rookie of the Year in the Roche France rookie standings was Allmendinger. Right now, Glock, who leads the race, has a 2-marker advantage over Ronnie Bremer. He may well add to it here today because Bremer's stuck back in 16th. Glock has the race lead and caution again. Second full course yellow in just a couple of moments, and this does not help Timo Glock at all with 14 laps to go. The pits are closed right now. We'll go yellow because of that piece of bodywork, I'm sure, Derek, that's laying out on the racetrack.
But Timo Glock looks good here. He looked good in Denver. There it is. It's the shock cover off one of the HVM cars. It is right on line, so you cannot have a car run over that, or you get the same situation that happened to A.J. Allmendinger, slices one of the front tires off. But Timo Glock looked great in Denver. He's looked good periodically. Now, he actually has done the last couple of laps in control with Servia and Bourdais right behind him.
Very capable F3000 champ from Europe. It's Rodolfo Levine's shock cover on the Corona Beer 55 for the HVM team. So Levine, who was up in the top 10 earlier, he's the driver who lost that piece of bodywork just moments ago. If you were with us at San Jose back at the end of July, Justin Wilson, who won at Toronto, who's been a contender here today, he had the same thing happen. He had to reach out and grab it with his hand to keep it from flying off in San Jose, one of the great moments of the year. There is Glock, Servia, Bourdais, and have a look here at what happens to the 55 as he comes off the corner.
Top of your screen, there it is, Levine's car, left side, the red car. So Ryan Hunter-Reay, who had the same piece of bodywork missing from his car, is the first one to see it on the ground, steers out of the way. It is now gone from the front of us here as the Ford GT. The lights are off on the pace car.
Quick full course yellow to retrieve that bodywork. Now, I said this does not help Glock, and I may have been a little early to say that. If Glock has an issue with fuel economy, obviously more laps under caution will help him get home. This also may result in the race going under a time limit. There's a 2-hour time limit in effect here today in Montreal for the Molson Champ Car Grand Prix of Montreal. 13 laps to go. It should be about 21 minutes of time. That would put us a little over. So we may only run about 76 or 77 laps here, depending on whether we go green the rest of the way or we get another full course yellow.
So Glock is leading. Started his racing career late by today's standards at 15 in karting, go-karts.
Derek, as we get set to go green here in the casino corner, we're showing you Cosworth power to pass numbers. Just a moment ago, Timo Glock has but 1 second left. The driver challenging him, Oriol Servia, has 46 seconds left. So if this is close, you'd think Servia with that extra 50 horsepower on tap.
That would be huge.
Bourdais got 63 seconds left, and he'll restart third.
That'll be huge. That will be huge. Can Wilson challenge Bourdais? If Wilson did not miss the front chicane here, he could still be in with a shout here. But can Timo Glock, the rookie, can he hold off these more experienced guys? Look at Servia right behind him. Doesn't want to get the drop.
Almost looks like a NASCAR bump draft as they come to the last couple of corners. Glock up on the gas and up on the wheel.
Here he goes.
12 to go. The green's in the air at Montreal. Glock, Servia is second, Bourdais third, Wilson, Tagliani, and Tabata. Vassar restarts seventh in front of Andrew Ranger. Tracy and Allmendinger, the rest of the top 10.
They all funnel down through turns 1 and 2. Dominguez is nice and safe, as is Tracy. Allmendinger, you see him there, the yellow and white car. That's Neil Mickelwright telling Tracy, AJ is behind you.
Everybody single file. They did not pit Levine to put that bodywork back on him. Andrew Ranger up in front of Paul Tracy. This is Justin Wilson, 4th now behind Sebastian Bourdais. 36 seconds in power to pass time left for Wilson. Top of your screen, we're showing you what each driver has left in the bank with a few laps to go.
And he wishes he had a better top gear now, because that is where you could pass on the long straight. This is down to the hairpin. Wilson's good in the brake zone. A little bit of different line with Bourdais at the apex, a later turn in. Glock is setting sail here.
Timo Glock 0.6 of a second ahead when they took the green last time. Heading to the chicane here and the start-finish line. There'll be 11 to go this time by in Montreal. Bourdais, they're 3rd in the McDonald's car. 4th spot belongs to Wilson in the CDW 9. 5th is Tagliani in the Aussie Vineyards number 15. There is Bourdais, your leader, Timo Glock, in the DHL Global Mail 8 car for the Rocket Sports team. Back with more of the Molson Champ Car Grand Prix of Montreal after this message and a word from your local NBC station. Well, coming up tomorrow on USA Network, tennis's final slam of the year, the 2005 U.S. Open. USA Network live from Flushing Meadows, 11 straight days and nights. All of tennis's big stars, Maria Sharapova, Andy Roddick, Roger Federer, the Williams sisters, and more. The 2005 U.S. Open coverage starts tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern on USA. Back at Montreal at NBC Sports, Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series powered by Ford, the Molson Champ Car Grand Prix of Montreal. Laps winding down with Derek Daly, I'm Rick Benjamin. We've had some great action. Timo Glock had the pit stop situation fall just his way. He stopped just before the last full course yellow. He got his fuel. He got back out Derek Daly. He's got a half-second lead over Oriol Servia. Glock struggled all weekend long. He's got the bit in his teeth now, but the pressure's on. Bourdais had led all the way up until that last round of stops. He's back 3rd. 4th belongs to Justin Wilson. Coming up, we're inside 10 to go, 9 to go, 8 next time by. I'm not sure anybody can get by Glock.
This is good stuff here. Can Glock hang on? Servia made a banzai move down the inside right here into the back straight. 185 miles an hour, turns in. Glock sees him. Oh, he avoids a crash by going straight over the top of the chicane. That was a good move by Glock. Otherwise, those boys were going to...
Now Wilson, Justin Wilson trying to move by Bourdais here. He's alongside him for 3rd.
He has him. He has him. Yes, he takes it.
Justin Wilson standing on the gas in that CDW number 9 for the Rocket Sports Roost Sport team, I should say. Rocket Sports has the leader right now with Timo Glock. He's in front of Servia. 0.4 of a second the gap, and Wilson up on the wheel with 8 laps to go.
Yikes. Hang on to your hollyhocks here, because Wilson is going to run down Servia. Servia believes he can pass Glock. This is only going to get better.
And Alex Tagliani has moved to 5th there in the Aussie Vineyards 15. He's got pressure from Cristiano Tabata. New life has been breathed into a lot of these guys with that last pit stop.
And Tag sees all the leaders right in front of him. If he can hang on here. Oh, Bourdais beginning to drop back here. There's a surprise.
So Sebastian Bourdais may have a problem developing. Wilson got passed by Wilson there. Now, Chris McClure, what are you hearing about Timo Glock? Can he get all the way home here?
They keep saying so. Tom Howitt, the crew chief, pacing at the back of the garage. He can't even bear to look, really. But I said, did you get everything in that car? He said, we got everything in that car. Now, yesterday, they had trouble getting the power down out there. And instead of trying to do something with wings and wicker bills and this and that, they took the whole differential apart and re-geared that, and the gearbox and re-geared that. I talked to Tom this morning. I said, did it help? He said, it got us a little further forward. It really should help in the race. Well, they've got that new equipment on board. They're leading the race. I guess something helped.
He started 11th today. Pit stop sequencing helping Timo Glock grab the lead. Driver out of Germany, former Formula One pilot, former European F3000 champion. Came in here with very high hopes. He has battled hard all year with the Rocket Sports bunch. Ran 6th at San Jose, 7th at Toronto, 6th in the opener at Long Beach. 3 top 7 finishes so far this year. Glock may be on his way to a history-making victory. The Rocket Sports Champ Car team has 1 win last year with Alex Tagliani and came at Road America. They won the Trans Am Series championship this weekend with their teammate Klaus Graf. That came yesterday. What about Sebastian Bourdais, though, Jan Bikas? He sat on the pole. He led all those laps.
And you said a moment ago, maybe he has a problem. The team says no, he has no problem as far as the car is concerned. Their issue is because of the pace that Timo Glock is setting, that was not as quick as they had been running. Because of the championship chase, they simply said, we cannot take a chance. We cannot race hard. We got to think championship.
Wow, okay, we have 7 different countries in the first 7 positions here, but Wilson is the one I've got my eye on here. I think he is going to still give Serbia a major headache, and if he can get by him, Glock could be in trouble.
Glock has burned up his last power to pass burst. Now, the clock showed 1 second. They don't give you just 1 second, you get 10. 5 to go. Next time by, riding with Wilson, he's 3rd, less than a second. Glock the leader in the yellow car, the DHL Global Mail machine up ahead.
You know what? That was Todd Malloy telling Wilson how much power to pass he has, and Glock, and Serbia, and Bourdais.
Show you the time. It's at the top of your screen. Glock is out. Serbia has 1 shot left. Wilson 13 seconds. That's enough for 2 bursts. Yeah. Bourdais has the same thing. So if Wilson works it correctly, Derek, that extra 50 horsepower could get him past Serbia, maybe past Glock. 5 laps to go. Next time by at Montreal.
Oh, 5 laps. Wilson is now closing him. Glock is impressive here, though. Timo Glock is really doing a stellar job out in front here in Montreal. Serbia has never won one of these Champ Car races. He's got to get by Glock, but he's got to watch his mirrors also. There's nice new clamshell mirrors to make sure Wilson doesn't attack him.
And in this period of dominance by Newman Haas and by Sebastian Bourdais, who's won 4 of 9 races, top 3 drivers. Glock has yet to win in his rookie season. Serbia has yet to win in his multi-year career in Champ Car. Justin Wilson, his 2nd year, just won his first race a month and a half ago in Toronto as we ride with Justin Wilson. Our Bridgestone Pole Award standings in the season, Sebastian Bourdais picking up his 4th of the year this weekend in Montreal. Tracy, Allmendinger, Wilson, and Vassar, the other Bridgestone Pole Award winners, worth $10,000 per driver per race here in 2005.
Following Serbia, he hit the wall here Saturday right before qualifying. Overstepped his bounds. Long line of cars here right behind this leading bunch.
4 laps to go. Next time by, they're on the backside of the race course here at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal on NBC Sports, and Wilson fighting that wheel.
Oh, this thing is on the limit. He gets on the power as soon as he can. Thing jumps sideways. A lot of concrete patches at the apex of the corners here. That makes it a bit slippery. There was an epoxy cover put over it. Makes it very, very slippery. You got to be careful. Here, he's got to get close here. Here's the hairpin. Got to get close, right behind him. Not close enough. Oh, turns in.
Locked up
first gear. He's got to be closer through that hairpin to get a real run down this long straight in the slipstream to make an attack on Serbia. He's not going to do it this time.
Now by distance, we have 5 to go. 4 this time by. By clock, we've got 6.5 minutes. We may come a lap short of the original distance of 79 laps because we're on a 2-hour time limit. They're watching the computers in the Rocket Sports pits, Chris McClure.
They are indeed. I just had a word with Robin Hill, who's coordinating the effort under there. He leans over with a smile on his face and talks to Paul Gentilozzi. I said, "Are you good on fuel still?" And he said, yeah, I think so. I think so. They don't really know for sure, but they're forcing themselves to believe because they want it so badly.
Timo Glock out of Germany. Young driver, bears a striking resemblance facially to Tony Stewart if you get a chance to see Timo up close. Very talented young driver, and Rocket Sports certainly has benefited from having him on board this season. Just the luck of the draw in some cases. You roll the dice. They had to bring him in early, and then there was a full course yellow. That's when all the leaders stopped. Glock went to the head of the class, and he has held on to the lead. 2 to go. Next time by.
DHL Global Mail came along with him to help support his drive here for Rocket Sports. He is doing a stellar job. Now remember, not only is he fat, he's asking about the fuel.
Don't worry. This is your place. Now go get it. Go
second. Defensive drive. Here comes Serbia.
Oriol Serbia wants his first career win. They bang wheels. Glock again through the cutoff area, and he stays in the lead. Now, the rule is there, Derek, that if you're forced offline, you can do that.
Serbia is shaking his hand. He is waving his fist saying, you cannot do this. I had the pass made. But Serbia has now done that twice. Glock hangs on. When Glock turns in, Serbia's already there. Glock realizes that he has to give up the corner potentially, or have a crash, or go straight through the chicane. I'm not so sure he's going to get away with that too many more times.
In his 6th Champ Car season, Oriol Serbia in the Pacific Air 2. He's driving for Bruno Junqueira, who waved the green here today. Let's take another look at what just happened, Derek.
Great run in Serbia. Now look, Serbia has the corner. Glock simply drives through, and Serbia is absolutely livid. He is waving his fist saying, you can't protect the lead like that by going off the racetrack.
Glock stretches the advantage. We'll wait to see whether he gets to keep it. You're not supposed to cut the corner short at that part of the racetrack. One more look.
And Serbia has now done this 2 different times. Watch him, he's on the has the line, and Glock simply straight lines it. And watch Serbia. You know what? I'm not sure Paul Gentilozzi thinks that they're going to get away with this.
It's been done twice in the last few laps by Timo Glock. 2 laps to go. This time by, they'll get the 2 to go sign as they head to turn 1. And Glock built the lead back to nearly 8/10 of a second that time by.
Wow, Glock is hanging on by his fingernails here. And Wilson, we're on board with Wilson right now, watching what goes on with Serbia. I don't know what's going to happen here, but you cannot continue to shortcut the racetrack like that.
White flag next time by, riding with Wilson, continues 3rd in front of Bourdais. There's Glock, your race leader for now. We understand from Champ Car's timing and scoring office here on the grounds, they're looking at replays. Tony Kottman and his staff reviewing those 2 incidents between Serbia and Glock. Serbia now has used up all of his Cosworth power to pass time in an effort to blow by at the end of the long straightaway, coming to that last chicane before start-finish. There's Serbia.
And he used it well. He timed it very well and pulled off what he believes to be the pass 2 different times.
Wow, unbelievable. We're hearing from Champ Car Operations. Timo Glock is going to have to give up the lead. Tony Kottman, you're on headset with us. What's your ruling about this?
Well, we gave Timo a warning after the first issue, and you know, he did it again. So as far as I'm concerned, Serbia had the advantage on him, and I'm asking him to switch positions right now on this lap.
Coming to the one, well, we'll get the white flag here.
And again, that's the flexibility. He's saying switch positions. He's not going to black flag him and make him go through the pit lane. He'll simply say, Serbia got the position, let him go ahead.
Glock continues to run at the front of the pack. Tony Kottman just telling us live. It's the last lap, of course. Serbia belongs in front. And if Glock doesn't let him by, Derek, I wonder where he'll be ranked at the conclusion here.
I don't know, but the League of Nations street fight here is playing out, and maybe the Spaniard is going to finally get his very first win. He's going to pass him here. He's going to pass him.
He's going to let Serbia go. We're told that Glock has been told to move over, and there goes Serbia. Glock tucks back in. Now he's got a couple of corners to try to come back.
Go get him.
They've let Serbia grab the lead on that ruling by Tony Kottman, the head official here for Champ Car.
Serbia has never won a Champ Car race. He has a drag race from the hairpin.
Wilson. Justin Wilson trying to get second away from Glock. Couple of corners to go, less than half a lap to the checkers here in Montreal.
Glock is going to try one more time, maybe. Is he close enough?
No power to pass left for either driver. Serbia leading. This car won here a year ago in the hands of Bruno Junqueira.
Woohoo!
Trouble in the last corner? No, everybody stays clean, and Oriol Serbia will win.
I understand.
Serbia, what a way to win the race. Paul Gentilozzi knows, understands, but what a day for Serbia and for Glock.
Timo Glock raising his hand saying, what did I do wrong? Well, the answer is he shortcut the corner twice. A warning the first time. Second time you lose the lead. And Oriol Serbia grabs the victory here in Montreal. A first-time winner in the World Series, the Champ Car World Series. We'll be back and meet the winner right here next on NBC. Welcome back live to the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal, Quebec, Canada on NBC Sports. A first-time Champ Car World Series winner, Oriol Servia in victory lane. Late race drama with Timo Glock. He got up alongside Glock twice. Champ Car officials ruled that Glock had blocked Servia. They moved Glock out of the lead, put Servia on the point, and Servia comes home the winner as we take a look at the top three as they head toward victory lane. Justin Wilson in the CDW 9 car comes home in third spot. Servia has waited into his 6th season of Champ Car Racing Jan Bikas. He finally grabs the first place trophy.
And the first time since 1997 he's won a race of any kind. That was in Formula 3. The Newman Haas team obviously elated. And I have a feeling that this is going to be a big breakthrough for you, Oriol. It's been so long coming. Tell us about those moves down in the final chicane.
It was just fantastic. I'm really happy. You know, it's just one of those races that I knew we had a fast car from Friday, and you just need to keep, you know, your head on your shoulders, and it was just great at the end. I think Sebastian had an issue in the pits, and we just took advantage. It just real amazing. Second year in a row, the Pacific Air car is on the top of the podium, and we need to keep it there for many, many years.
You've had this monkey on your back for a long time. You have a lot of second-place finishes. What now, as far as your feelings of finally breaking through? Are there going to be a lot more for Oriol?
Now just this easy. You know, the hard one is the first one, and we were close so many times, and we're always there. Something happened. Today we made it happen. I'm really happy.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oriol Servia is your winner. His first win in Champ Car, third in points. This will help him. A disappointed Timo Glock. We'll hear from him when we continue from Montreal. Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series powered by Ford. Our coverage today on NBC Sports has been brought to you by the Ford Family Plan. From the Ford family to the American family, welcome. And by Bridgestone Tires, passion for excellence. Let's have a look at how they are scored across the stripe here in Montreal. Oriol Servia, controversial finish, defeats Timo Glock. Wilson gets third. Bourdais led all those laps early. He has to settle for fourth in front of Tagliani, D'Amata, Vassar, Tracy eighth in front of Allmendinger, and Mario Dominguez. The standings, 4 races to go in the season. Bourdais now with a 61-point lead over Servia, who moves to second in front of Paul Tracy by 4 markers unofficially with 4 races to go. Let's hear from the second and third place drivers. Chris McClure.
Justin Wilson just to my right, and on a lot of days, that's a winning race car.
Oh yeah, I mean, Sport did a great job. I'm really pleased CDW is on board for this race. So, yeah, we did everything right. We had a great pit stops, quick car, made some good moves. So, all in all, we're pretty happy, and you know, it's a good result. We can build from here and just go to the next one now.
Okay, congratulations. Well done.
Thank you.
Now, Timo Glock, so close. In fact, a lot of people think you had the winning race car. Tough break at the end, but welcome to the podium.
Thanks a lot. I mean, it's on one way, it's pretty disappointing when you have to give up. I mean, I had to give up because I did 2 times the shortcut, and my problem was only I needed 1 shot of push to pass, and that was my problem that I had to use in the beginning because it started from 11th, and I had to use a lot of at the beginning, and I ran out at the end with push to pass. And I mean, it's good for the team that we are second, and it's good for me, but it's in one way it's great, and one way it's disappointing. Then you have to give up the win, and the win was on our side, definitely. Our car was unbelievable in the last 2 stints. Changed a little bit the tires, and the Bridgestone tires were perfect, and my DHL car ran unbelievable and consistent.
Okay. Thank you very much. You were a joy to watch. Thanks. Rick?
All right, Chris, the thoughts of Timo Glock. Disappointed, Derek, at that runner-up finish when he had the lead, but boy, what a great end to this race.
Again, at the end of one of these races, you can say, wow, what an event, how that whole thing closed out. Bourdais had what you would call a championship day, was not prepared to get into the middle of the fight, made a small mistake in the pit lane, and was happy to just take as many points as he can. But Glock will have great confidence from today because now he knows he can do it, knows he can run at the front. But I love to see scenes like this with Oriol Servia. The Spaniard for so many years hasn't been able to win. Bruno Junqueira is fit, will be back in that car at the end of the year, but now Servia is a winner. Maybe that'll pave the way for the rest of his career.
What's that, the 6th consecutive podium for Servia, now second in the championship. It looks like that gamble he took, leaving Dale Coyne to take the offer and move into that seat earlier in the year, is paying off big for him.
And how ironic it is that soon after his win, he may be yanked out of the car to make room, of course, for Bruno Junqueira to get back into it. However, I think he's made a statement, And really, that's
Yeah.
all you need from a driver when you give him an opportunity. Make a statement and make people sit up and take notice.
And Bourdais, who was leading all those laps, started from the pole. We thought he was on his way to his 4th straight win and locking up the championship. He may have done it anyway by finishing 4th.
And of course, in all these events, you have good and bad luck. What about the top of our show, our American challenger, A.J. Allmendinger? The wrong place at the wrong time. His tire got sliced by the rear wing failure of Riccardo Speraffico. It effectively takes him out of the race. He would have been potentially on the podium also.
A.J. Allmendinger will have to try another day. Well, wild event here in Montreal. Thanks for joining us for the Molson Champ Car Grand Prix of Montreal today here on NBC Sports. Next up for the Champ Car World Series, coverage on Sunday, September 25th. We'll be on speed from Las Vegas, Nevada. It'll be round 11 of Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series, powered by Ford on that very fast Las Vegas Motor Speedway oval. Check your local listings for the time in your area. Up next on NBC Sports, the best amateur golfers in the world competing to be the next Tiger Woods at the U.S. Amateur Championship. For Derek Daly, I'm Beekus and Chris McClure, I'm Rick Benjamin. So long from Montreal.